Hi there, this is the AI voice of Spectrelayer. I wanted to briefly explain what you are seeing and hearing. If you've ever wondered what machine hearing pays attention to, this video will probably answer that question. The audio you're listening to is shown graphically, with both loudness peak metering and tuned comprehensive spectrum analysis. Because the audio has been processed with Spectrelayer, the overall experience is enhanced when played back through a quality set of headphones or a high-end sound system. Spectrelayer encourages you to compare the audio in this demonstration with the same audio in the original studio release of the material, if such material is available. Most people are shocked when they hear the difference in how good Spectrelayer sounds. Clearer vocals, better dynamic range, lower distortion, better equalization, and much better streaming performance. The differences have audiophiles talking about something revolutionary: Spectrelayer. The potential high-quality sound that the invention of digital audio promised has been plagued by the pursuit to make recordings sound louder and louder within the constraints of the digital domain itself. This fool's errand, which has been referred to as the loudness war, introduced extreme forms of distortion into many recordings unnecessarily. The great irony is that the very technology that had the potential of creating recordings of unparalleled quality is the exact same technology used to damage these same recordings with techniques such as compression, clipping, and other quality robbing schemes, all in that attempt to make end recordings sound as loud as possible within the constraints of the storage format, usually with radio broadcasting in mind, an attempt to make a song sound louder than others on the dial. To add insult to injury, the recording industry became populated with hucksters, all marketing gimmicks that claimed to improve the sound of recordings, allegedly by overcoming the shortfalls of early digital recording formats. These claims all revolve around the notion that the digital recording standards pioneered by the brilliant minds at Sony, Philips, and Matsushita were short-sighted and were victims of the limitations of digital recording processes of their time period. Of course, the engineers who understand those pioneering formats also realize just how good that they actually are at encoding the audio signal. And we assert that all of the claims that those early standards were obsolete or subpar to human hearing in any way are in fact snake oil. The good news is that there is now an advancement in audio post-mastering that truly is innovative. The Spectrelayer process, sometimes pronounced Spectrelayer, has been in development for over a decade and combines proprietary technology such as AI, with the belief that the minds who established the original 44.1 kHz 16-bit PCM playback specifications knew exactly what they were doing. Therefore, mixing down to those formats can yield unparalleled sound quality, providing that mastering and post-mastering approaches take full advantage of what we have learned about human hearing. Spectrelayer instead focuses on where real improvements can be made and not claiming a need to reinvent the proverbial wheel. The merger of truly new approaches to post-mastering audio creates improvements in sound quality that are breathtaking. Spectrelayer is marketed by providing a free post-mastered sample of material chosen by the decision-makers themselves. The Spectrelayer challenge is simply this: let your own in-house engineers make it as good as they can. Then listen to the same material post-mastered with Spectrelayer. You'll know immediately why you want Spectrelayer to be the final step in the processing chain before commercial release. In simple terms, why would you trust a sales pitch more than your own ears? The improvements in sound quality are just as substantial and clearly audible as are the differences between early attempts at speech synthesis compared with the benefits realized by using AI to generate synthetic speech, like you are listening to right now. And then say goodbye to the snake oil salesman. Spectrelayer is a high-end, revolutionary audio optimization, restoration, and processing technology service that is applied at the very endpoint of the mastering process. Designed for production standards that demand the ultimate in sound quality, Spectralayer's proprietary AI complementary processing knows what sounds good to the ear and also repairs several types of severe distortion, raising the bar called sonic excellence. Audiophiles agree, and now studios can affordably leverage the Spectrelayer service to give that Jenesais'quoi touch to their commercial releases. Spectrelayer simply sounds better. Sometimes lots better. I know this sounds like marketing hype. Well, because it is. However, it's also the truth. This is why Spectrelayer offers a free demo. After all, if your own ears are the primary tools you use to determine the merits of our claims, then the marketing was simply information that brought the Spectrelayer process to your attention. Spectrelayer answers the question that can generally be posed as, how good can it be made to sound? The fact is that many possible mixes of a track will sound good to the average listener. And because digital audio processors, from simple tone controls to advanced DAPs exist, we know that end users regularly take steps to improve the mix on their side when the signal reaches them. The Spectrelayer service is offered to make that signal be the best it can be before it reaches the end listener. During processing, the Spectrelayer algorithm processes analyze the source signal, and apply more processing in a few minutes than a human engineer could manually apply in years. And in the process, the signal is postmastered to sound stunning, literally as good as it can sound with a given source. And this sonic upgrade is so extensive that the signal often looks quite different from the original when seen in a DAW. The sound is so remarkably changed that, in the case of a familiar composition, part of the human brain thinks it is listening to a new mix of previous material. You'll hear people explain the effect this way: it was like listening to that same performance, but again for the first time. And when the signal is played back loudly to approach real-world performance volume levels, Spectrelayer shines its brightest. Why? Because during processing, Spectrelayer analyzes the source signal and expends the majority of processing power on the various moment-to-moment parts of the sound that the human brain is also likely to fixate on during listening. Turning the volume up on a capable audio system exposes the nuances of that spectralayered sound field and the improved dynamics as well. Instead of being hit by a wall of cacophony, the listener is immersed in the most detailed and exciting music they've ever heard with stunning clarity, especially at those higher volumes. Spectrelayer, which is not as loud on digital media, is actually louder and clearer when streaming. How? The extreme irony is that streaming music services look at the overall loudness of each track and reduce the volume of that track prior to streaming it in order to maintain a median loudness profile. Because spectralayered tracks are less loud on average, they are attenuated less, sometimes not at all. And because spectralayered audio has an improved dynamic range, those stunning transients that make the music sound better also make it through the streaming loudness algorithm, often unscathed. For example, a super loud studio release that averaged -8 dB LUFS would get attenuated about 6 dB, with most streaming services to achieve -14 dB LUFS. The same material in spectralayered form may realistically average -14 dB as is. This means the streaming service would not attenuate it at all, and the entirety of the dynamic range would be streamed. The result would be a fantastically better sound, completely unshackled by the streaming service. However, Spectrelayer strains older codecs like MP3 and performs better with newer codecs such as AAC and loves lossless.